For 57 years, Carl Dean, Dolly Parton's mysterious husband, had never appeared with her in public. Many even doubted his existence. Now, with Carl Dean's passing, Dolly Parton's shocking confessions have revealed the truth behind this peculiar marriage. Was it truly an epic love story, or just a clever arrangement to protect reputations? This revelation might make the world see the queen of country music in a completely different light. The passing of Carl Dean at age 82. Carl Dean, the famously private husband of country music legend Dolly Parton, has passed away at the age of 82. He died peacefully at their Nashville home, the same quiet retreat where he and Dolly built a life together away from the spotlight. Though no official cause of death was disclosed, sources close to the family revealed that Carl had been in declining health for some time. His passing left an irreplaceable void in the life of the woman who had loved him for nearly 6 decades. For years, Carl Dean remained one of the most mysterious figures in the world of entertainment. Unlike many celebrity spouses, he never sought fame or attention. He was rarely seen, never gave interviews, and steadfastly avoided the public eye. To some, he was an enigma, but to Dolly, he was the steady force behind her whirlwind career. Dolly has been mourning in private. In the days following Carl's passing, she withdrew from the public, surrounded by close friends and family. When she finally spoke about her loss, her words reflected the depth of their bond. "We spent 60 precious and meaningful years together," she shared. Like all great love stories, they never end. They live on in memory and song. Theirs was a love built on understanding, independence, and unwavering loyalty. Dolly often joked that their secret to a long marriage was that she stayed gone. Yet, despite the physical distance, their connection never wavered. Carl may not have stood beside her in the limelight, but he was always there in the moments that mattered most. His absence now marks the end of an era, not just in Dolly's life, but in the story of a love that defied expectations. As she reflected on their journey together, she expressed it best in the simplest of words. "I wouldn't be here if you hadn't been there." Dolly's intimate and emotional funeral tribute. In the wake of Carl Dean's passing, Dolly Parton faced the most difficult farewell of her life. For nearly 6 decades, he had been her anchor, the quiet presence behind her glittering career. Now, without him, she was left to navigate a world where his steady love no longer surrounded her. Unlike the polished persona she had perfected on stage, this was Dolly at her most vulnerable. Dolly took complete control of Carl's funeral arrangements, rejecting the involvement of publicists or managers. The service took place on March 3, 2025, in a small white clapboard chapel on their Nashville property. Wildflowers like daisies and black-eyed Susans, which Carl used to pick for Dolly from their fields, lined the pews in simple mason jars. Framed photos from Carl's bedside drawer adorned the altar, snapshots of their 1966 wedding, a young Dolly laughing on their porch, and a rare candid of Carl grinning beside her, his face weathered but warm. Only a small circle of immediate family, childhood friends, and lifelong confidants attended, those who truly knew the quiet humor and unwavering loyalty of the man Dolly had loved. Standing before the modest wooden casket, she spoke not to the room, but to Carl himself. "You saw me before the world did," she began, her voice breaking as she recalled how he had loved the barefoot girl from Locust Ridge, not the rhinestone-clad icon the world came to know. She then read from his love letters, some scribbled on faded receipts from the 1970s with words like, "Dolly, you're my sunshine even when it rains." Others longer notes left on her pillow during her tours, whispering, "I'd wait 100 years just to hear you sing in the kitchen again." Then, in a moment that left every person in tears, Dolly picked up her guitar and sang a song she had written for Carl decades ago, but never recorded or shared with the world. Titled, "My Quiet Man." Its lyrics carried the weight of their lifetime together. "You held me up when the lights got too bright, my shadow in the storm." As her voice filled the chapel, the rawness of her grief was undeniable. This was not the larger-than-life entertainer adored by millions. This was a wife saying goodbye to her truest love. By the final note, her voice cracked, and she whispered through her tears, "Goodbye, my love." Attendees, including her sister Stella, later said they had never seen Dolly so unguarded, her sorrow stripping away the performer to reveal a widow mourning the man who had been her greatest companion. Through her tears, Dolly reminded the world that the greatest love stories are not the ones played out on stage, but the ones lived quietly, in the spaces between the spotlight. What do you think about Dolly and Carl's unique love story? Let us know in the comments. Celebrity tributes reveal Carl's hidden impact. For decades, Carl Dean remained an enigma, never heard, and assumed by many to be disconnected from Dolly Parton's world. But in the days following his passing, a flood of unexpected tributes shattered that assumption, revealing a man whose quiet wisdom and steady presence had left an indelible mark on some of the biggest names in entertainment. While he never sought the limelight, his words, actions, and unwavering character resonated deeply with those who had the privilege of knowing him. Country music legends were among the first to share their memories. Loretta Lynn's family recalled a night in 1966 when Carl, in an old pickup truck, drove Dolly and Loretta to a honky-tonk gig. He stayed until dawn, ensuring their safety as they navigated a rowdy crowd, long before security teams and tour buses became a part of their world. Kenny Chesney spoke of a conversation he had with Carl in 2010 over coffee at Dolly's farm, where Carl offered a simple but profound warning about fame. "Fame's a circus. Keep your soul out of the ring." It became a mantra Chesney credited with keeping him grounded throughout his career. But Carl's influence extended far beyond the country music scene. Hollywood icons, including Jane Fonda and Lily Tomlin, shared rare glimpses into his quiet wisdom. Jane recalled a night during the filming of 9 to 5 when Carl grilled steaks at Dolly's home, sitting with her afterward and remarking, "Life's not the headlines, it's the mornings after." Lily Tomlin laughed as she recounted his dry humor, remembering how he handed her a plate of food that night, joking, "Dolly's the star. I'm just the cook tonight." One of the most unexpected tributes came from Paul McCartney, who revealed that he had met Carl in 1982 at a private industry dinner. Reluctantly attending at Dolly's request, Carl quickly bonded with McCartney over a shared love of farming. At one point, McCartney recalled, Carl leaned in and dismissed the idea of celebrity with a simple statement, "It's all noise. Give me a tractor any day." Perhaps the most emotional story came from Reba McEntire, who recounted Carl's quiet support in one of the darkest moments of her life. After the tragic 1991 plane crash that took the lives of her band members, Carl called her, not with hollow platitudes, but with an offer of silent companionship. "I'll sit with you if you need quiet," he told her. Reba described him as a rock no one saw but everyone leaned on. These tributes painted a picture of Carl Dean as more than just Dolly Parton's elusive husband. He was a quiet force of wisdom, loyalty, and kindness, someone who influenced those around him not through fame or power, but through simple acts of humanity. Even Dolly, in her grief, seemed surprised by the breadth of his reach, marveling at the man she had always known, but was now seeing through the eyes of so many others. Secrets unveiled. As tributes to Carl Dean poured in, another side of his legacy began to emerge. While many knew him as the quiet, reclusive husband of Dolly Parton, those closest to him knew that his role in her life was far greater than it seemed. He was not just her partner, but her protector, shielding her from the darker side of fame in ways the world never realized. A revelation from retired Nashville music executive Walter Harris shed new light on Carl's quiet but powerful influence. In a rare interview, Harris revealed that in the 1970s, Carl had intervened when Harris unknowingly became entangled with powerful figures looking to exploit the booming country music scene for financial gain. Carl wasn't a man who started fights, but he knew how to end them with calm words and quiet authority, Harris recalled. Carl had personally stepped in, ensuring that Harris disentangled himself from a dangerous situation simply because he was a friend of Dolly's. But Carl's protection didn't stop there. Throughout Dolly's career, he had quietly ensured that certain predatory figures in the music industry were kept at a distance. At a time when young female artists were often taken advantage of by powerful producers and executives, Carl made sure that Dolly was never in a position where she could be manipulated. Though he stayed far from the industry's spotlight, those in the business knew that Carl was always watching from a distance, making it clear that Dolly was not to be touched. His sacrifices for Dolly's safety and peace of mind came at a personal cost. Some of the biggest deals of her career were quietly sabotaged by men who resented Carl's interference. Yet, according to those who knew him, Carl never regretted the decisions he made. He understood that his wife's talent and success were worth more than playing by the industry's corrupt rules. Carl knew that being married to a star meant sometimes you had to be the shadow behind the light, Harris said. But Carl was never just a shadow. He was the steel frame holding up the whole house. Perhaps the most shocking revelation came after Carl's passing, when it was revealed that he had kept a private journal documenting the many times he had protected Dolly without her even knowing. The journal, left in the care of a trusted family friend, it was a love letter, a record of every unseen battle he fought for her. Those who had seen its contents described it as a testament to Carl's devotion, revealing just how far he had gone to ensure that Dolly could shine, free from fear or interference. Even Dolly herself had not known the full extent of Carl's efforts. In the wake of his passing, she reflected on their life together with newfound understanding, realizing that the love of her life had spent decades not only loving her, but protecting her in ways she had never imagined. Carl Dean may have been a man of few words, but his actions spoke volumes. His greatest legacy was not just his quiet presence. It was the unwavering shield he had held up around the woman he loved. If you've been a longtime fan of Dolly Parton, what's your favorite song that reflects her love and loss? Dolly's final goodbye and a secret message. As the days passed after Carl Dean's funeral, Dolly Parton remained out of the public eye. But just when the world thought her farewell had been spoken, one final revelation emerged. Carl had left her a message, one that no one knew existed. Before his health declined, Carl had quietly made arrangements for a final tribute, one meant only for Dolly. Tucked away among his personal belongings was a recorded message, a love letter in his own voice, to be played only after his passing. On the night Dolly finally listened to it, surrounded by close friends and family, there was not a dry eye in the room. His voice, strong yet gentle, filled the silence. You were always my shining star, but I never needed the world to know that, because you always knew. If I could do it all over again, I'd choose the same quiet life beside you. No cameras, no crowds, just you and me, the way it was always meant to be. I'll be waiting on the porch, darling. Take your time. For Dolly, this final message was more than just a goodbye. It was a reminder of the life and love they had built together, one that didn't need an audience. And though Carl was gone, his love remained, echoing in the quiet moments between the songs she sang and the memories she carried. A marriage shrouded in mystery laid bare. Carl Dean's passing peeled back the layers of a marriage that had mystified the world since 1966. For decades, Dolly Parton's dazzling career seemed at odds with Carl's secluded life in Tennessee, fueling endless speculation. Were they living separate lives? Did they have an open arrangement? Or was Carl merely a name in Dolly's story? Yet, in the wake of his death, a truth far deeper than rumors emerged. Their love was never about constant togetherness or public displays of affection. It was a partnership built on contrast. Dolly, the unstoppable force on stage, and Carl, the steady anchor who kept her world grounded. "I stay gone. That's our secret," Dolly had once joked, but the tributes and Carl's private journal revealed the depth of their devotion. While she toured the world, he safeguarded their home and, more importantly, her peace. Dolly's music, long thought to be purely artistic, hinted at their private struggles. Jolene, inspired by a flirtatious bank teller, spoke to insecurities she rarely acknowledged, while "I Will Always Love You" carried undertones of emotional distance and longing. Yet through it all, there was never scandal, never betrayal, only an unshakable bond that thrived not in the spotlight, but in the quiet spaces between. At 82, Carl Dean left behind more than just memories. He left behind proof that their love was real, unconventional, but enduring. His passing didn't unravel the mystery of their marriage. It redefined it, in her grief, in her music, and in the words she whispered at his farewell. "He's the only one I've ever wanted." Their love story lives on, not in spectacle, but in the silence he always cherished. If you were moved by Dolly and Carl's extraordinary love story, please take a moment to like and subscribe for more untold stories of your favorite stars. We want to hear your thoughts. What aspect of their unique relationship touched you the most? Drop your comments below. Just like Dolly and Carl's private world, there are countless untold stories behind every celebrity's public image, and we're committed to bringing these hidden tales to light. Stay tuned for more exclusive revelations that will change how you see your beloved stars.